All right, folks. Today we're going to be talking about UFC 308, Topuria versus Holloway, and our predictions. We're also going to have a guest today. Some of you guys might know him. Mr. Brian Diaz is going to be on the show. We're going to be talking about our predictions, what we see for these fighters in the future, what they've been doing in the past, all things leading up to this, going over pretty much all the way down into the prelims. And let's get things going, see how it goes. Thanks. All right, guys, we're here today to talk about UFC 308, the upcoming fight this weekend featuring Topuria and Max Holloway. Today, I'm having on a guy some of you may know, some of you may have been in the ring with him, you may have been on the mats with him, Mr. Brian Diaz. I'd like to thank you for joining me and coming on the podcast.
All right, what's up, guys? What's up, yeah, man? I love talking about fights, so let's do
Awesome.
it.
Awesome. So we've got a pretty interesting card here. Obviously, the big thing is Topuria versus Holloway. We're going to get to that. This card's been through a lot of changes. Like, even right now, I think everybody was really concerned that Whitaker and Chimaev was going to be the fight that fell through.
Everybody.
Yeah, I mean, every single person is like, Chimaev is going to pull out.
Yep.
The good thing about it is it's happening overseas, so we don't have to fight the visa issues, thank God.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, but at the moment, it seems like that's holding together. So, we did some picks when we were getting ready for the podcast, but some of this is changing every single day. So I thought it was going to be Nzechukwu versus Justin Tafa. Now UFC's website is showing it's going to be against Chris Barnett, Huggy Bear.
I'm
Um,
I'm seeing that on Tapology too, so it looks
yeah,
like that's official.
yeah, and I'm fine with that. I like Tafa. I wanted to see the fight. I like Nzechukwu, but I'm going to tell you now, man. I've got a soft spot for the big boy Huggy Bear.
Who doesn't?
Exactly. Watching him do his front flip, landing, right on his butt. The guy is just seeing a guy that's that big but that short. You just got to root for him. It's almost, like an underdog, but because he's a big boy.
Yep.
So definitely going to have his hands full though, because Nzechukwu is tall and long.
Yeah. I mean, Huggy Bear can bang. Let's not get it wrong. Like, looks are deceiving when it comes to this fight. He can bang. He is a legit striker.
Yeah, well, his ground game's great too. He can move around on the ground for a big guy. We've seen that. Just like Roy Nelson, big country. Everybody was like, oh, he's just heavy hands. He had great jujitsu as well. And I think a lot of people doubt that about Huggy Bear. Like, he'll throw down, but Nzechukwu is long, very very long. Like, he's gonna have a hard time getting to him. You think that he can like get through, the teeps and the jabs to get a hold of him?
He's gonna have to. I think with him, he's on a 2-fight losing streak right now. I think he's gonna want to play this fight really smart. I really
Yeah.
think he's gonna try and close the distance and try and get Huggy Bear to the ground, where I
Okay.
think that's his best chances. Huggy Bear's dangerous on his feet. Um,
Yeah,
it,
that probably a smart choice. Huggy Bear had another fight lined up a while back, and I was real. Oh, he was supposed to fight Usman's brother, the like ridiculously huge heavyweight,
yep.
and couple injuries. I think that fight. I know it got postponed once, and if I'm not mistaken, it got moved again. So, you know,
That yeah. The main reason that it was because all the flooding. He's out of like the southeast somewhere.
okay,
So with the hurricane coming in, some issues happen with that. I don't know if he's in Florida or North Carolina or
right,
wherever, but that's why that fight got canceled.
okay. So, I mean, that's good that it's not injury prone. So hopefully he'll
Mm.
be 100% for it, but.
Hopefully he's ready on a week's notice.
Yeah, and they've got it listed right now. Nzechukwu minus 162, and Chris Barnett 136. So it's kind of just a pick 'em there.
Yeah.
They're just throwing it up. So me personally, I got to root for the big boy. I'm a big boy, so I'm gonna
Mm.
I'm gonna hope he can get it. And no disrespect to any of these fighters that we're not covering, but I don't expect the viewers to sit here for 2.5 hours and listen to us ramble. So there are going to be a few of these that we're going to skip around on. see here. The main fight, obviously, that I'm gonna focus on here is the main on the prelim, and that's Jeff Neal versus RDA. Um,
Yeah, that's a good fight.
it is. They're giving Jeff Neal a big favorite in this fight, but I think that is very well earned. Um, don't get me wrong, RDA, former champion,
Yeah.
always competitive, extremely hard to finish. But on when it comes to Jeff Neal, the guy was on a tear. I mean, an
Hmm.
absolute tear. Let's see here. We got win. TKO's Nico Price in 19. TKO Mike Perry in 19. Loses the Wonder Boy decision. I mean, it's Stephen Thompson, so
Yeah.
nothing. It's not a bad loss. Unfortunate loss to Neil Magny through decision. Then he comes back, decision, beats Ponzinibbio. Then he KOs Vicente Luque.
Yes.
Luque's not really been the same since that kind of like weird CTE injury. There's a lot going on there, I think, mentally with him. But he's on a two-fight losing streak, but it's against Shavkat Rachmanov and Ian Machado Gary. Um,
That Gary fight was a close fight too.
it was, and
I
that's
actually I actually picked Jeff Neal in that fight.
I did too. You know me. I'm not on the Ian Machado Gary hype train
No.
at all. I'm not gonna Sean Strickland him, but I'm
Yeah.
still not a I'm still not a fan. Um, but definitely when we look at what these are hard fights. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are easy to throw out the term he's on a two-fight losing streak. These aren't tomato cans, guys. Ian Machado Gary is unfortunately possibly one of the most hyped up guys in the UFC right now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. I
know,
mean, he's a hard fight just because he's so long and in the range. You know.
yeah, and then I mean Shavkat's a monster. That's a
Mm-hmm.
totally different just
Mm-hmm.
that's a beast right there. And then I
Yeah.
mean if we're looking at what RDA's got going on right now,
I mean, RDA at welterweight's not been what you would want.
yeah, that's let's see what we got here. We'll just look at, the past couple years. Beats Paul Felder through decision, Hanato Moicano through decision, but it's the same kind of RDA game plan he's always had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's going to wrestle you. It's going to be some ground and pound. He loses to Rafael Fiziev, gets KO'd. Brian Barberina submits him with a neck crank. Then he loses to Luque in 2023. And for me, the Mateusz Gamrot loss, like, okay, losing to Luque in 23, I don't think Luque is anywhere near what he was 3 years ago. I just don't think he's in the same boat. So
Yeah.
him losing to 2023 Vicente Luque tells me that we might be there. If the guy wants to compete, let him compete. But at the same time, I don't think Jeff Neal is the one you want to be getting in there with Jeff Neal coming off of a loss. I just really don't.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree with that. And Jeff Neal's going to bang. Jeff Neal's going to be hard to take down. I think
Absolutely.
Jeff Neal's going to be bigger than him. That's a hard fight for RDA, and both these guys are tailing into the end of their careers.
They are.
They're both in
RDA
the
RDA is much more he's at the
for
tip of
sure.
the tail,
Yeah,
whereas Jeff Neal he's got some fight left in him for sure.
I think the weight cut is the biggest difference. For RDA is the point where he's not cutting weight. He doesn't want to go to 155, which pretty much he's just fighting right now. I think Jeff Neal's had a few fights that set him back from being at the top. I
Yes,
think
yeah, I would agree with that.
that's the big difference. Jeff
Yeah,
Neal can get a few fights and be back
and be
there.
back in there.
RDA is never going to be back there.
Yeah, RDA's just been slowly falling 6, 7, 8. What's he at now? 12?
Yeah.
No, 14. He's at 14.
Mm.
Jeff Neal's trying to work his way back up, whereas at this point in RDA's career, I feel like unfortunately he's just kind of hanging on to a ranking. You
Right.
know, so definitely probably I think, in my opinion, for RDA, it's probably getting time to maybe hang it up. The guy's had a great career, you know,
Hmm.
nothing wrong with it. I don't want to see him taking punishment, so gonna go with Neil on that one.
For sure.
All right, so we're gonna move on up here to Shara Magomedov and Arman Petrosian. Um, I think Shara Bull is a very interesting prospect. Well, I
Mm.
mean, he's really not a prospect anymore.
Mm.
The- it-
I think you're kind of right still.
yeah. So for me, I mean, we know what Petrosian is capable of. Good
Hmm.
fighter, you know. But with Shara, there's this huge hype train that's been behind him. His fights are exciting to watch. However, I will say I have been impressed with the striking,
Yes,
but I haven't been impressed with the power.
for sure.
I just don't see that the power is there. I mean, I can pull up his, fight list here. He hasn't fought anybody that's jumping off the page to you. So I think this is a good fight for him against Arman Petrosian. I think it's a really good fight. I want to see a finish. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna, for me to get on board with this guy, I want to see a finish.
yes, yeah. I mean, that needs to happen. I do think he's still in the prospect, realm, and he needs a big finish here, in my opinion. I think you're correct there. If not, he's just kind of floating around in this. At 185, you got to bang.
Yeah,
You got DDP in there. You got Pereira and Adesanya. Like that's a stacked division of people who are going there and knocking people out and having great
I,
fights.
I think another thing, like obviously, like the guy was just a world class kickboxer. The fact
Mm.
that he's a pirate in there with one eye, getting
Yeah.
down like he does, is attracting people.
The pirate is here.
He's never gonna fight in the U.S. He's never going to fight in
No.
the U.S.
Yeah.
So for him, he really is limited on when he can fight.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's obviously I don't think he can get sanctioned to fight in the U.S. because of the eye, unless he bizbings it and like cheats.
Everybody knows though.
Exactly. Anybody that was trying to skate through with one eyeball, I think Bisping kind of ruined that for him.
Yeah.
So he's stuck fighting a couple times a year when the UFC is overseas, and I mean, say he gets on a 4 or 5 fight win streak, are you gonna send Duplessis to Abu Dhabi to fight at 2 o'clock in the afternoon against Shara? Is that the money
Yeah.
move for Dana?
No, I don't see it. I don't.
I
He's marketable because he's a pirate.
yeah,
The
He
pirate
looks
is
cool,
here.
but I mean, he's already doing movie scenes and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
y-
that's
y- we
true.
we know why he's doing what he's doing. I mean, he's a fighter.
Yeah,
Let's not get that wrong.
yeah,
He's a good fighter. Is he a top 15 fighter consistently? I mean, these are the fights he needs to finish so we can
yeah,
figure that out.
yeah. I completely agree with that. And as far as Petrosian goes here, if I'm not mistaken, he's coming off of a loss.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
he's a contender series guy.
yeah,
So he's kind of just floating around in that
yeah,
little.
yeah. Adolfo Vieira submission to arm triangle. He beats Leroy Duncan, AJ Dobson. He loses to Kyle Baralho, who has turned out to be a really good prospect. But yeah, contender series. So I think this is a good fight for both of these guys. I don't think either one of them here what's it looking like, a pick 'em, 166 to 140. Yeah, I mean
Wow,
so it's
wow.
pretty. I expected for Charbull to get a little
I
bit
thought he
more
was
of
going
a
to get a lot more love than that.
yeah, I was thinking maybe in the minus 200, something like that. But yeah, I guess maybe they're seeing what I'm seeing. Like, I think the striking is great. I think it's a bit reckless, and I just haven't seen the power. But the transition over from, kickboxing to MMA, like, these are little gloves, man. I've been
Yeah,
hit with a big glove and I've been hit with a little glove. And if I got to pick, I want to get hit with a big glove. So,
for sure.
maybe the power's just it's not there for him, you know. So
Hmm.
all right, let's keep moving on up. We've got Ratchik and Ankalaev.
I like this fight.
I do too. I think because Ankalaev, maybe it's the name. First off, we've got a guy from Russia that's striking. I'm all on board with it. That's more what I want to see, you know. But I do like Ratchet. He's had a weird
Yes.
career though. Like he's had a
Hmm.
very odd between injuries and then coming back. I mean, what did we have? 2 years off, I think, for Ratchet here. Almost 2 years. Let's take a look here and see
What
how.
was it after the Juan or Jehovah fight?
So Vulcan Ozdemir, that's 2019. We don't see him again until 2020. Thiago Santos. So it was after the yawn. So
Yeah,
it was the knee injury. So he's out in May of 22, and then they're like, all right, you've had 2 years off.
yeah.
You know, just I mean KO Jimmy Manawa.
He's a banger, man.
Yeah,
He's a banger. That Yuri fight really it how's he going to bounce back from somebody who just went out there and beat him?
yeah,
Like literally just like took every shot he had, walked him down, and just hurt him to the point where he pretty much quit.
yeah,
You know, like Yuri, that was an awesome fight. I mean, it's
yeah,
what you want to see.
yeah,
But how can you back mentally from like, hey, this dude just came out there and literally just
yeah.
took everything I had,
I blow
and
my knee out. I'm out for 2 years.
yeah,
Then Yuri, whacks my head in.
yeah. But he was looking good that first round. He was
He
looking really good.
was, he
Yuri just put
was.
the pressure on. Remember, Yuri kept going forward, and
Yep.
Yuri just kept taking his shots, and that's why Ankalaev,
God dang, that's a lot of green. Jeez.
yeah,
So
he's a banger.
it looks like the last loss that I'm looking at here.
Oh,
Uh,
for Ankalaev. But
yeah, what was
look who
against
he's
my boy
fought.
My Paul Craig. Yeah. So he gets
I'm not
triangle
impressed
choked
with.
by Paul Craig. It's a triangle choke by Paul Craig. Anybody can fall victim to that.
Yes,
So let's see. KO head kick, decision, KO
but
front kick,
to who though?
Kutalaba.
That's my biggest
Yeah,
issue. Against who? That's like he's not really like Anthony Smith. You know, like everybody beats him. Thiago
unfortunately. That
Santos,
that was
everybody
after the
beats him.
knees. Yeah. So the draw
Johnny
with
Walker,
Jan. Yeah.
everybody beats him.
So I think with these two guys fighting, and I think this is something that we run into an issue with. The light heavyweight and the heavyweight division are
Mhm.
so thin.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you've got these. So for me, the biggest thing that I see on Kalaev, like that I look at here when I'm looking at Ankalaev, none of the wins matter to me. Not
Hmm.
that these guys aren't great athletes. The biggest thing that stands out to me is that you survived with Jan, because we'll just throw it out there. Jan is a powerhouse. He
John,
puts people to sleep.
John's
So
good.
for
Yep.
me, at least I know this guy's got a chin. You
They were
know,
gassed. They were gassed that fight.
they were tired. I mean, you get tired being that big. But when I look at Ratchik over here, I'm like, it's even less impressive.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
see what you're saying.
yeah.
I I
And
get what you're
then,
saying.
but what hurts me even deeper is I'm like, this is number two and number five. This division, the light heavyweight division, has gotten so thinned out. That's why for me, neither one of these guys are beating Poetan. And that's at the end of the day what they're fighting for.
Yeah,
Neither
yeah.
one of them. He's putting them both to sleep.
I agree because Ankalaev isn't going in there and wrestling.
No,
You
no,
know,
no,
that's and you're not standing with the man, the myth, the
nope,
legend.
no. And it's taken a lot for me to get on the
I-
on the train.
I've been loving it. I
I know
love
you have. I know
it.
you have. I was rooting so hard for Khalil, um, but Poetan is
He's legit. I
He's
mean,
I'm just
this
gonna
is a
say it. He is
Conor
a
McGregor
fucking
style run.
monster.
He
That's all
is.
there is. He is a absolute savage.
When
Um,
Conor was coming up, everybody was like, "Oh, he can't wrestle. He can't wrestle." But the excitement that he gave, was amazing. Like it was electric.
yeah,
And Poetan's doing that more than Conor did.
yeah.
Like the excitement is just there,
And he
and I
doesn't
mean,
speak English. The
it's
guy,
it's amazing.
it is. The guy doesn't.
Drama.
He yeah, Chama. He literally does not speak English, and we're talking about the two guys that are going to fight him when we're more focused on talking about him.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'd like these guys aside. Poetan go to heavyweight. I want to see it. I
I want
want
to
to.
see him. I want to see him and John Bones Jones. Yes.
Aspinall
Yes.
deserves it though.
No.
Aspinall deserves
No.
he deserves it more than Poetan. I'm not gonna.
No.
I'm all for it. I would like to see it. The issue that I have with that though is, unless a lot has changed, which it could have with Glover, Izzy controlled him on the ground. If Izzy can like maneuver you around, you don't want John Jones on
Let's
you.
see it. Let's see
Yeah,
it.
I mean
Like,
that's true. I'm gonna watch
eh,
it. I'm
you
gonna
know,
watch it.
like that'll be John's last fight.
It's
Let it happen, man. Like
no,
that's the huge the payday they're both gonna get.
it
Just like
is.
everybody wants to see that fight.
What do you think right now? As crazy as this is, and I never thought that this would be a possible. What would you rather see? Ngannou come back and fight John Jones like we've always wanted, or
Mm.
John Jones and Poetan?
John Jones and Poetan.
Really?
Yes, yes,
Jesus.
yes.
Really?
I've seen Ngannou lose several times, and I feel like that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be a grind.
Yeah.
John's too. I think his IQ's
I
too smart.
Ngannou's wrestling didn't look that bad in the last one.
Who's
Not the one 2 days ago where the PFL said, "Here's this monster," and
and
Ngannou said, "Give me 90 seconds or
I'm
something."
I'm gonna take. See, he's not taking John down like that. He's not taking.
No, no,
That's not
no.
happening.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely
I
not.
would love
That
to see both fights, but to me, John Jones, he's a 205er.
yeah, yeah,
Pereira, he's a 205er.
yeah.
Let's watch these
Oh,
true 205.
you want to see them at 205?
Yes, yes, yeah, or even a catchweight. I mean, 220.
Yeah.
Whatever you have it. But like that's they're
I don't think John's ever
John's not a
coming
head.
back.
John's
No,
not a
he's not.
heavyweight.
He's not. Look at
He's
those
not.
legs. That dude's got smaller legs than
Yeah.
I do.
Mm,
So they're tiny. Those legs are
yeah.
those are toothpicks.
Yeah,
That's
that'll
the
be
thing
there.
though. Poetan does that little
Yep.
flick of the calf, that
Nah,
weird calf kick. That thing's
yep.
done. So all right. LaRon Murphy, Dan Ige. I don't
Mm.
have a lot to say about this. Dan Ige, I am a bit curious. I give him, hats off for taking that last fight on short notice against your boy.
Lopez.
Yeah, that one of the best fights I've ever watched. His body, I'm sure, is okay. He did take a pretty good beating, though. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I hope he pulls through on this. I'm kind of surprised they're giving this big of an edge to LaRon Murphy.
He's
You know,
undefeated.
I get it. I get it. I just Dan Ige, you never know.
Yeah,
He shows up. So,
yeah. He's lost a lot, and is he comfortable losing again? Is he in that stage of his career?
yeah,
Where he's taking those short notice fights and getting his name out there because that
yeah,
boosted his career.
yeah.
Um,
Okay. Well,
and Murphy's, you know,
he's good.
he's good.
He's good.
He is.
It's definitely a fight that I'm wanting to watch. So the fight that we all want to see,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna believe this fight's gonna happen until Whitaker could walk out first, and I still would be like, not sure it's gonna happen.
We
You
call
know,
Tony Ferguson in the back and
exactly,
trip
exactly.
over something.
Yeah, I mean, with Hamza, I don't know what's going on with this guy. I don't. I mean, they say that these sicknesses are plaguing him. That
Hmm.
he never fully healed from COVID. Then there's a lot of talks about visa issues.
Hmm.
But I am super excited for this fight. Um, I've never been a huge Robert Whitaker fan until this past year. It's like he found that dog, man. He's watching
Hmm.
him fight with intensity. If he had been fighting that way, he might have held on to the belt. His last fight, like I was very, very, very impressed with these last couple of performances by him. You know, Paulo Costa.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Looked
he
good.
just stayed on him. I mean, it's hard to finish. You know, Paulo. Paulo's not
Mm-hmm.
been showing up for much for a long time, but especially the Askarov fight. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he was aggressive. I mean, and it
He's
was
gonna
I
have
was
to be done this fight because, Chimaeva's coming out that first round,
oh yeah, yeah.
guns are
The
blazing.
first round is going to be rough. So let's see.
Is it a
Ha-
3-round fight?
I don't know actually if they. I think someone asked for 5 rounds.
I
If you want to
I
double
know
check on that.
I know it wasn't Chimaev. He don't want those five
No,
round
no.
fights.
Yeah, but I want to say maybe that Whitaker did, but I don't think it will be. I could be wrong, but I highly doubt that. Um with the experience that he has and the way he's fought the past 2 fights, I'm going to go with Whitaker on this.
Ooh,
Yeah. I'm
ooh,
gonna go with Whitaker on this. I'm not saying I don't like Chimaev by any means,
of
but
course.
a lot of unknown, a lot of like weird health issues.
Hmm.
Some people saying that he's made some money and he's kind of that's the issue. Um,
That was off Bitcoin. Did you hear about all
yeah.
that?
No. How much did he make?
Well, supposedly he got on, he has a big following, millions of followers, and he got on and told somebody like, "Hey, you guys all need to invest in this Bitcoin." And they all invested in it, and then I guess his backers, the moment they did that, they pulled
Oh
everything.
yeah, he just sold. He said, "You guys shoot the price
Yeah.
up."
Yeah. So he was under investigation in Russia or wherever he's from for that. And somehow that all
Wow,
got was yeah, oh yeah, it was a big deal. Like his fans, his true fans are not happy with him by any means.
that's wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
he
when I look at this, Robert Whitaker versus Gilbert Burns. Who you taking?
Robert.
Chimaev struggled.
Mm,
He struggled. And you're quick to jump and say, yeah, I'm taking Whitaker against Gilbert.
yeah, for sure. But Shemaya, that first round, my biggest issue is Whitaker. Yes, past 2 fights, he's looked good, but he's a 5-round fighter.
Yeah.
He's a slow starter, kind of like the Izzy fight. It takes him a minute to get going. And Chamaya is on you in the first round, like that Usman fight where he took Usman down and was on him
Yeah.
that first round. Um, is
Yeah.
that going to happen again?
I mean, I could be giving too much to the past 2 performances from Whitaker, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, even watching his interviews and things like that, he said, I've changed. And like, I totally believe it. If he comes out with the same intensity that he did in his last fight, I think he could possibly finish Shemaev. I
Mm,
mean, it would blow.
it's a bold
Yeah,
statement.
if you're talking about going to a decision, you got to take Whitaker. If you're
The 3-round fight. I just, if Jamai can go in there and hold him down for a full round. Elite wrestling. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
elite grappling,
yeah,
sambo, whatever you want to call it. Like it's elite. So
it
that first
is,
round,
it is.
Jamai could really control that. And then what's going to happen in the second? Can Whitaker make that adjustment in the second? And then he's probably
True.
going to win the third. So how long in that second now? Whitaker's game.
Yeah,
So if he gets into that second, he's his IQ is high.
yeah,
It's a tough fight.
it is, it is.
I watched episode 1 of the Embedded, and Jemiah looks like he's in a good place. Like he's
Right.
got a lot. Like he doesn't have what was the
I saw some
UK.
pictures and he looked big in some of the
Yeah.
pictures I
Well,
saw.
he's got his boys around him. Like he has his countrymen behind him. Before, remember when he was going to the UK with what's his name? Um, who was the I can't even think of his
Oh, he
name.
was all Darren Till.
Darren Till, and they were
Yeah,
kind of like running around acting
yeah, yeah, yeah.
silly. It looks like he's got his people behind him.
Right, right.
Where they're all in there with their shirts off, hopping in hot tubs and stuff like that.
Bit
You
weird,
know,
bit weird.
yeah, yeah, but that's what they love.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
seems like he's back there
Let's
again.
get naked. That holds you down, man.
Yes,
If it if it
yes,
gets you hype, it gets you hype.
yeah.
Whatever. So, yeah, yeah. That's definitely. It's gonna be interesting, but I'm not gonna say I'm picking Whitaker on this, but I'm definitely gonna be rooting for him.
I got you.
So,
Yeah.
all right, I'm just gonna scroll on up. We'll just look at them. Topuria and Holloway.
Uh, uh, uh,
I know. Who do I want to win? Easy, easy.
Max, who,
Exactly. Of
who
course,
doesn't?
of course.
Everybody, everybody. Who
I
doesn't
I'm
love
not.
Max?
I'm not big on Taporia. I was curious. His brother was supposed to fight on the card. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't
Right.
see him on the early prelims anymore. That would have been interesting. I hope it wasn't anything crazy. But it's if I doubt Max, I should doubt Max because if you doubt him, he'll win. So maybe that's the way. I dude, I never thought in a million years he could hang with Gaethje.
Really?
Never. No. No. I
Mm,
didn't. I did. I thought. In my opinion, thought that Gaethje would. It would just been like leg kick after leg kick after leg kick. And I thought like maybe he could go 5 rounds and get beat up. The guy's taken more strikes than anyone else. He's been hit more than anyone in the UFC. It's
yes.
not something you want to brag about.
Mm-mm.
But I was like, he'll survive. He always survives. But what he did and how he did it, I was extremely impressed. So I don't know. Once again, I like to make up these just like fights. Topuria versus Gaethje, who you taking?
I
I
mean,
know MMA math doesn't always work, but
no, it doesn't. See, I think their styles are so similar. Taporia is not going to get hit as much.
yeah,
Like his
definitely
movement's
faster.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely faster. His
yeah.
his purest boxing is so much cleaner. Um, but have we seen him go 5 rounds? Because Max doesn't get finished.
And Max doesn't get tired.
Exactly. Max is going to be on that bicycle. He's long, which is a
So we've
problem.
got one Josh Emmett, 5 rounds, and Josh Emmett's powerful. Like
Okay, yeah, I
Josh
remember
Emmett,
that.
Josh Emmett throws bombs.
Okay.
However, I remember watching this fight, and there wasn't one of those like spectacular
Hmm.
like flush. Like Emmett really never landed flush on him because he definitely got out of the way. But when I go back and I look at like who he's fought starting, um, Yusuf Zalal, Damon Jackson, Ryan Hall. I mean,
He messed Ryan Hall up.
that guy's playing jujitsu though. Like
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
doesn't even count. Jai Herbert, good fighter, KOs
Yes.
him. Bryce Mitchell, I mean, he submits him.
He put it on Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell
Yeah,
he looked out of water. That was the first time we really
yeah,
seen Bryce Mitchell
yeah,
look like he's going to lose this fight from the
yeah.
moment that and Volk
And
kind of looked the same way too.
Volk should have the past couple fights that Volk has had, he shouldn't have taken.
Mm.
The guy needs to heal. There's been some interesting stuff coming out from Volkanovski on who he would rather fight. Topuria and Max, which
Well,
is
he's beat Max twice.
I gave one to Max. I gave one fight to
They were,
Max.
they were they were close fights.
They were close. They were close. But
See, if you look at that fight, poor Ilia, is he better than Volk was in those prime days? Because Max was really good. Max was in his
yeah,
prime then. You
the
know.
issue that I have is not like Ilia Topuria is a great fighter, but you're
Hmm.
talking about a guy who has fought, in my opinion, I don't even count the Volkanovski fight because I just don't. I don't think it was like Volkanovski wasn't where he needed to be, whether it was mentally or physically or
Hmm.
whatever. Josh Emmett was, and he went to a decision with him. Bryce Mitchell, it's still questionable. I
Hmm.
definitely don't think he has fought anybody like Holloway.
Oh, for sure. But
This is
i-
a
is
hundred
Max
percent.
is Max better or than he was when he fought Volk back in the day?
Yes, yes.
You think he's better?
I think his striking is better. I 100% believe that his power has improved with his new like like regiment that he's doing for like
Mm,
his strength, I 100% believe that his power is there. Now, is it going to be the same power he was carrying now that he's coming back down?
mhm,
That's my only thing is like, how is Holloway going to adjust coming back down to weight after being up for so
mhm.
long? You know,
He should be faster.
he should be faster. But and my thing though is with Topuria is Topuria's already fast
Yeah,
and he's powerful.
I'm not saying he's faster than Poirier, but he should be
Yeah,
faster max. Is it
yeah.
fast enough? I just Poirier is a hard fight.
If there's anybody that could finish Max, it's Topuria.
We've been saying this for forever, and it's never happened.
I don't think I've ever said this person could actually finish Max. I didn't even say that about Gaethje. I just didn't think that he would win. I'm not talking about
Agreed.
like TKO him or submit him. I'm talking about like night sleeping, run his pockets. They gotta come in there and shake him.
Well,
Topuria
if
has that power, and it's scary. You
well,
know.
Poirier, his style, like Dustin Poirier, like that boxing, that like he's tight, he's
Yeah,
clean. That gave Max problems big
it
time,
did. It it
real
it
big
did.
time. Poirier is faster, and it seems like he still packs a punch.
Oh, he does. Like
It,
he absolutely well, I mean, obviously it looked like he packed a punch against Volk, but I
yes.
don't think that I love Volkanovski. Seems like a great guy,
Hmm.
he can cook, so that's cool.
Hmm.
But I think that, he even came out and said he was struggling a lot with mental issues when he's not in camp.
Drinking.
Yeah, yeah, and I just don't think the past couple of fights he's been where he needed to be. So like does Topuria really have this like, you know, dynamite power, or was it circumstantial?
Yeah,
So
we're going to find out because Max going to test everybody.
yeah,
Like if you're coming in a
yeah,
little bit off or you lack any holes, Max will find those.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, but Max can also lose a fight.
So are they putting? Is it belt for belt with this?
I don't think the BMF's on the
Okay,
line.
I had saw some things the past week where like they were, Topuria was bringing it up, and I was like, no, I was like that
No,
he's not in that category yet.
no,
I don't want to see that.
he's too
I think,
nice.
yeah, I think Diaz came out and was like pretty much like, no, that dude is
No,
not, he's not up there.
no,
So
no, no, no. That's not happening.
yeah, I would agree. So you got a pick for this one?
Oof, Taporia is hard to go against.
He is,
But I like Max,
yeah,
so it's like I'm torn. Like I just don't know. I still think Max was the best he was when he fought Volk. I don't know if he's gotten
so you
better.
don't think he's gotten better?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he was just that good. And Taporia, I think he's better than Volk was back then. He's longer, and I think he has the same movement characteristics, and he can take a shot.
Yeah.
Um, that's why I think Taporia is going to hard to beat in this fight. The fourth and fifth rounds where it gets interesting though, because Max will be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's
And Topuria's only done that once, and that was against
against Emmett,
Emmett. And
and
Emmett
Emmett just
was
flogged. Yeah, he's
he
like,
was so slow by the fourth and fifth round. I mean, he's a big guy at that weight
yeah,
class, and he was getting slow, and Topuria still couldn't put him away.
yeah.
Yeah, if we're talking about the fights going long, fourth and fifth rounds, Max, I could see him taking those, but it's what does he do? And Max, like, he just wants to come out and bang. He'll stand in the pocket. He doesn't care, and he's throwing all these combinations. 6, 7 punch combos, just crazy stuff.
Hmm.
Um, it's gonna be a good one though.
I do like that
Yeah,
little front kick he's been doing.
yeah,
He caught Gaethje with. So I mean, maybe I'm wrong with saying he hasn't gotten better. I do. He's obviously adding.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I think it's tough to be like, oh, he's getting better because he's been fighting for
for yeah,
150 years. The guy's young. He's not old. He's just been fighting since he was 18 years old.
That's the
And
problem with Max. It's like which one is like is he still evolving or is we seen the best of him already? And it's your mind's gonna be playing these games.
yeah, yeah. I think he's still evolving, but we'll find out soon enough. We're gonna wrap it up here, man. I want to thank you for coming on. I truly appreciate it. I also want to say thank you for pushing me to, I like to talk. Everybody knows that. I've been involved in martial arts since I was a kid, and then as I got older, you pushed me to get into it as well, and stay on track. And then you pushed me to get on camera and start doing this shit. So thank you. It means a lot to me, the support and you helping me, do this. And obviously, I want to have you back on again. I'm going to do some other stuff, not just MMA, where we talk about just life and, the struggles. And I'd love to have you back on whenever I do some stuff like that. You've got a great story. People would definitely like to hear it.
I got you, man. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, and I'm always gonna push you. We gotta push each other. We gotta be the best we can be, man. Best
Hell yeah.
fathers, best friends, best everything, man.
Cool. Well, thanks guys for watching. Once again, thank you, Brian Diaz, for joining me. Like always, if you agree with me, leave a comment. If you disagree with me, definitely leave a comment. Thanks for watching and tune in next time. Thanks, guys.
See ya.